This is Cultic, a boomer slash retro slash pretending to be old shooter, heavily inspired by the 1997 shooter Blood. He says, having never played Blood, I'm literally basing it entirely off this dynamite. As the name would suggest, it involves a cult. Well done. And while thematically the whole evil rogue dev cult thing might be a bit played out, the gameplay and atmosphere displayed here certainly are not. It's an FPS, just in case you couldn't tell. Fundamentally it's a tactical shooter, but it does have some faster movement as well. At least once I went into the options and found these. I went from waddling about, eating hatchets, doing fuck all to... You definitely don't have to play this way, but it helps in a fair few situations and it makes the game more fun. But there's just as many situations where a slower approach is better. There's generally a good amount of freedom in how you approach levels, despite them being linear. Speaking of level design, again, it's a balancing act. Levels are atmospheric, and in the case of the early ones especially, don't feel too gamey. Sometimes games suffer when you make a level organic like this, because, you know, real life isn't a first-person shooter most of the time, which means places don't follow level geometry rules or whatever the fuck. But it felt good here. And then it gets a bit more gamey once you hit the underground bits and the crypts and that, but it's still really good. Oh, please can I have another parkour session? I love falling in water. I didn't at any point feel like it was unfair. And that doesn't just apply to levels. The enemies too. They don't do the stupid Doom thing, because as much as it is a classic, fucking hit scan enemies suck. Gun enemies should be like this. Fast reactions are okay. I don't care how fast a bullet is though. In a game it should always be a projectile, never a hit scan. Because it means I can do stuff like this and still never get hit. Because you really don't want to get hit. There's no chip damage in this. The scale starts at hit by a speedily relocated fridge and ends at laying down on a busy subway track. Luckily, your attacks are just as bullshit. There's a big multiplier for headshots, so in the early game, it's easy to take advantage of that. Though, the other side of the coin is, if you take body shots, you're going to waste a lot of ammo and it's going to take ages to kill anything. Doesn't matter as much later on when you have 300 sticks of dynamite clenched between your arse cheeks that you can throw en masse. You know, ammo abundancy does cut the difficulty down later on. The last few levels, you just have tons and tons of ammo. I wasn't wasting ammo, I was being relatively frugal. I was finding I should have been wasting it, because you'd start a level and it would just give you every gun in the game. I'm pretty sure a blind 6-year-old could take down a cult if you gave them 33 grenade launchers, but, you know, never mind. It didn't take away from the experience, it just made it a bit easier. The enemies were cool. Mostly cultists with guns, and I enjoyed every single enemy except these. Oh my god, these exorcist looking freaks are the most annoying enemy known to man. They pick up everything in the room and launch it at you repeatedly, and once they run out of shit to hurl at you like a caged chimp, they pick up your monitor, your mouse, your keyboard, your mouse pad, they rip paintings off the wall, they take radiators off doors, then if you're stupid enough to let one see you, it slows you to a standstill and makes everything shake and turn red and you take loads of damage and you don't know what to do. Awful. But awful in a way that was well designed, so I can't justifiably lose my mind. I just have to sort of shout for no reason. And regardless, I can't stay mad at a game with weapons this satisfying, especially the explosives. Even the environment ones are great, except for, you know, the hitboxes.
Look at this. She burned me.
It's got this slightly annoying thing where two weapons use the same ammo and it's executed in a kind of stereotypical way. And these two guns are basically the same thing, but one's got a telescope glued on. Popping heads though, so good. The dynamite explosions are fantastic too, especially when they come from the stupid AI throwing bundles at the wall in front of them and killing most of their extended family. There's a nice weapon upgrade system as well, where you pick up weapon parts, you find benches, you upgrade your weapons at these benches. Now the game, like most boomer shooters, has secrets, and it utilizes these secrets generally to deliver weapon parts, or weapons early in the case of some of them. This means that you can really make the game easier for yourself by finding all the secrets, which is, again, pretty standard, but in this case, it will provide you with sort of permanent bonuses to your weapons that you can customize rather than just giving you more ammo and health that you may or may not need. It feels a lot more quantifiable. Just on the actual difficulty settings, for reference, I was on the second highest one because the top one had all these crazy warnings. You'll burst into tears and shit and piss yourself if you haven't played at least 300 hours of Cultic, that sort of thing. But you know, after beating the game, I went through into the custom difficulty setting, and it's got all these cool mutators that could make for fun variations and challenge runs. The most interesting thing though was this random seed, which implies that maybe the enemy placement and types are semi-randomized for every difficulty. I couldn't find anything about this online in the 2 milliseconds I bothered to look, but the implication is cool. That and the mutators, there's a lot of replayability here. I'm a really big fan of the color scheme too. They didn't go for the, ooh, everything's dark and gritty and it's black, brown and red are the only colors in the world, which looks shit 99% of the time. Like literally, it literally looks like shit. But the colors here are deep and rich and pop out your blues and greens, even though I had my monitor set to auto contrast and it kept flashbanging me. Then the music was at its best when it was slow and creepy for some of the more atmospheric levels. I keep using that word, I'm using that word too fucking much. The more active combat music though was okay. There's nothing incredible, it was your kind of typical hopeful, ooh, I'm killing Cthulhu. I think there's a bit of a disconnect with the marketing. The game is sold as Cultic Chapter 1, so I presumed it would be the equivalent to one chapter of a game like Doom. And that marketing model's kind of fallen off in the last, I don't know, 2 decades. You know, the chapters in Doom aren't big, so I didn't know how much of the game I'd actually be getting, or whether it would just cut me off abruptly. But I gotta say, it does feel full length. You got 10 large levels, loads of weapons, fill your whole weapon wheel, tons of enemies. It feels standalone and complete, which is my main concern going in, that it would just feel like a fragment of a game. So it's just a marketing error, which is only a problem if you read the description for the game and actually think about it, which I didn't do until I'd already bought it, because I make healthy financial decisions. I mean, the game is very cheap, especially for the quality. I'd have happily paid 50, 60, even double the price, and I'd still been happy. So overall, I can't wait for Chapter 2, I'll definitely buy it. Just give me more Brendan Fraser dog monsters, please.